Hey everybody, and welcome to The Void, a show dedicated to filling the void between being an employee and becoming self-employed. Most people refer to starting your own company as taking the leap, as if they're blindly jumping off a cliff and into the unknown. This show is here to help you understand that it doesn't have to be that way. As always, if you like what you're hearing on the show, please do us a favor and help share The Void with someone else who might also be wanting to start their own company. We saw an opportunity to help others understand that self-employment is well within your reach, and just as our businesses have grown organically and by word of mouth, we want this show to grow the same way. For that to happen, it takes two things. We have to keep giving you guys really good content, and you guys have to help share our show. So if you see somebody asking questions about starting their own service-based company, please do us a favor and drop them a link to the show. I'm your host, Mitch Smedley, and with me as always is David Hilton.
Dude, Mitch.
Dude, Dave.
When I said, hey, we should get some hot chicks to be on the show, this is not what I had in mind.
Well, you're right.
I mean, this is...
They are neither hot nor chicks.
Yeah, I say, hey, we should get some, like, girls in bikinis, like do morning show stupid slap happy crap.
Like the old man show on Comedy Central? Girls jumping on trampolines?
This is not what I had in mind.
You're right.
If I push these together...
They're almost A's.
Yeah, he's getting there. So we've got a guest episode for you guys this week. We've got with us a couple of guys that came together and started a auto detailing business. So go ahead and introduce yourselves, guys.
Jesse, co-owner of Aristocrat Detailing.
Yeah.
I'm Connor, his co-owner.
Co-owner. So we got Jesse and Connor.
Jesse and Connor.
They co-own Aristocrat Detailing, based out of Raymore, Missouri. And how long have you guys been in business?
We've been in business for 6 years now.
6 years. Yep. All right. So
looking good.
Long enough to know better.
College wasn't working.
Yeah. Just long enough to not be sure.
You're right. Right. So do us a favor and explain to us a little bit more about like the ins and outs of what you guys do. Like there's a bunch of different levels of car detailers. What do you guys specialize in?
Correct. So we started out detailing cars, cleaning out the inside of vehicles, etc. And it's definitely moved to paint correction, which is removing scratches, swirl marks, any kind of defects in the paint work, and applying protective coatings and protective films.
Okay.
We do offer detailing, though, with the new addition of space. We picked up some space and a little bit of extra muscle as well, so we're back to offering interior and exterior detailing just like we started out doing.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. So, like, when Mitch and I think of auto detailing, that's what I think of is, hey, I'm going to take my car there, they're going to wash it, the inside is going to look like it's a brand new car. Are most detailing shops just geared to that, and then you guys are, like, the next step up above that? Or do a lot of detailing shops offer that extra step of paint correction, waxing, all that kind of stuff?
I'd say it's about half and half. There's a lot of guys who are, they're in it for the volume, they're mobile, and they're just knocking out interiors, 4 or 5 a day. As to where when we have a car, it's in the shop for 48 hours minimum.
Gotcha. So it's more specialized.
Correct.
Nicer cars, just a step above auto detailing.
For the most part, yeah.
Okay. I didn't know. I mean, what do I know?
They make the paint like reflect.
Like it's a deep mirror. Like when you walk up, you can see yourself in it 3 steps deep.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty sweet. So, for our newer listeners to the show, this here is a guest episode. We have a couple of different styles of shows. We've got guest episodes. We've also got some just general business shows. We've got some Q&A shows where you can email in questions to us and we'll answer them. And if your questions are good enough, we'll even make a show about them. The email for that is askmitch@mitchsmedley.com. But even though it's Ask Mitch, you could literally ask any one of us. You could even email in and ask Jesse and Connor questions about their business, and we will make sure that message gets to them. We also have another style of show called Beyond the Void, where we side rail the business stuff a little bit, and we talk about a little bit more social and political topics that are going on, and we try to bring those back to business about how to either use those to your advantage or how to not get distracted by those or whatever the case may be. So while we have some guests here, we want to dive in and learn as much as we can about how they started their business, how their business functions, how they get work, successes and failures that they've seen in the business. So you guys are a partnership. And a lot of the guests that we've had on the show so far were sole owners. So explain to us your partnership a little bit. How does that work?
It's 50-50. It's honestly really simple.
Okay.
Pays 50-50. We try to make the workload 50-50. Really pretty simple.
When you say workload, do you mean physical workload, or like one of you does the actual physical work and then one of you does office stuff and then one of you does going out getting new clients? I mean, what's the breakdown there?
So physical work is always split right down the middle.
Okay.
So when we start on a vehicle, we split it down the middle long ways. Driver's side is mine, passenger side is his. Obviously, we flip the car, double check each other, etc. But I handle like pickups, drop-offs, social media. He handles the books, putting numbers together. Which works out because if you wrote out a long division problem for me, I could not solve it on paper. I couldn't do it.
So what do you guys, when you say office stuff, Connor, what do you use? Do you use QuickBooks?
Yeah, QuickBooks. Yeah, QuickBooks.
Stay on that mic, Connor.
Yeah.
He's there.
He's getting it.
We're getting it.
It's hard being in the middle and then someone asks you a question from the side.
It's
weird. You don't have to look at me. It's okay. If I'm ugly, it's all right.
Dave and I cheat because no matter where we're looking, we're always pointing at the microphones. We always take the new guys and put them right in the middle, and then you're kind of hosed.
Yeah, then you're screwed.
You're kind of having to like...
Yeah.
You're having like
it's
be
not
an
good.
owl head around the mic.
Do you use QuickBooks like... they've gone to... what have they gone to now?
Well,
you got to pay by the month?
Yeah, you got standard
you guys use the
QuickBooks
same
and then
stuff?
QuickBooks Online.
Well, a lot of people are still using the old school, like where there's no online. You just kind of are cheating the system, and they're just waiting for all the passwords to end.
I'm waiting for him to send me my new CD.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's 1998.
Yeah, we use the $20 a month one, so the online one.
Right.
So it's accessible from all the devices all the time.
Yeah. And your guys' is probably fairly singular. Like when you're getting material, it's usually probably coming from the same vendors. Mm-hmm. So like that's one of the neat things with QuickBooks is you can set rules in QuickBooks so that like every time you buy from this vendor, it automatically codes it as this is, job materials. So that it probably makes it a little bit more streamlined for you guys being able to do it that way.
Oh, yeah, it's all super easy stuff. It's all the same distributors, manufacturers, all that stuff every single time we buy something.
Right.
With us being set up with G-Technic as an accredited installer of their coatings, it's always from them. So it makes it easy for us.
And then Connor, do you do all the bookkeeping also?
Yeah.
Everything in the QuickBooks, and then at the end of the year, you're just like, okay, tax man, here you go.
Yeah.
This is my stuff. I've done all the GL coding. I've got everything the way I want it to be, so you don't have to pay a bookkeeper or anything like that.
Yeah, it's all just it's super straightforward stuff.
Yes.
I see a lot of guys, especially that are starting out. I see these guys keeping they've got wads of receipts.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, dude, I have buddies who do this, and I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Go make a business bank account, any business expense, credit card,
Right.
or debit card. What if you're not responsible, start with a debit card until you learn.
Yeah.
All your expenses are right there. End of the year, print credit card statement for 2022.
Mitch and I have talked about this 100 times. Like when I started, that's what I did. I opened no accounts. I did nothing. All I did was get a credit card. And then I saved my receipts. And then at the end of the month, I got a statement. And I just looked at them and I was like, yep. Okay, we're good. Next month. And then I didn't have to carry around the receipts and and then try to figure out, did I buy this with my personal money? Did I buy this with business money? What did I do? You get a business credit card, and it makes it super easy.
Yeah.
It does.
know?
I see guys, like I said, with wads of receipts. I'm like, what are you doing? And it works the other way around. All your deposits are your income.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, instead of writing down in a notebook,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not tech savvy or nothing, but it takes, 30 minutes to go up there and...
Connor wants to jump in. He's like, "What, Nick, dude?"
It's just-
he says that, but this is what actually happens.
It's just making it as simple as possible.
Right.
That's what it comes down to. What's
Right.
the most efficient way you can do it?
Yep.
And that's what I'm all about. Just the most efficient way we can do it.
Yeah.
business banking account, credit card, debit card, everything goes through their QuickBooks. That's it. We're not having to go all the different avenues everybody else is doing.
Right. Well, and QuickBooks can even sync up to your, I don't know about a credit card, because we don't use a credit card for our business. Everything's debit card for us. But it'll sync up to the bank account. And so it sees every transaction coming through there, and like ours syncs up. We use a CRM for all of our scheduling and all of our customer management. And so ours syncs up to our CRM and our bank account, and it's looking for like a double check from both. Like if our CRM says we made a sale, it's looking at the bank account for where that money is. And so it's kind of balancing everything out there.
Throws up a check.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't do it. That's one of my wife's rules, so I can't tell you exactly how it functions. But I know that it'll use all three of those to make it super streamlined. And I mean, we've got 4 guys that are out spending money and buying material and collecting money and everything else. And it's still probably a 20 or 30 minute per day process for Danielle to go through and get everything. Basically QuickBooks will say, like, is this actually this? It'll prompt you to ask, is this transaction actually job materials? Every other time you've used it, it is. And she'll say yes, and she's basically just approving all of the transactions and then done.
So you use your CRM for scheduling too. What do you guys do for scheduling? Like, how do you keep track of all that? And I don't want to hear we got it on a notebook in the
That's
shop.
what you're going to hear. No, we are making a change because...
Not even a spreadsheet, huh? Just like
I'm not even joking.
I'm writing it down, and then I'm just, hey, dude, we got this on Friday.
There's a whiteboard in the shop with a bunch of names on it.
It's not in the shop. It's at my house. I go over
I used to do the same shit.
But it's got, I write down, okay, we're doing C7 Corvette on the 22nd, and the guy's name is Jonathan.
Time to move up, man.
Whenever you get to where you're a month or 2 months out, and, that time comes around, you're like, Jonathan's forgotten he's even scheduled.
Right.
So I need to reach out to Jonathan and tell him. And there's been a time or two. I'm pretty sharp, but every once in a while I have lost contact info and been like,
right.
So we've got it's a pretty big, it's sheets of paper. It's still old school, but it's got a ton of room for me to write the customer's contact info, what time they're supposed to be there, what exactly we're doing to the vehicle. So we are making that change.
So what's the change going to be?
The change is going to be I'm going to actually have the customers, all of their information right there to contact them.
Yeah. So like one of the cool things when you do get to a CRM, and there's expensive ones, there's cheap ones. I mean, ours only costs us $220 a month. It's not bad at all.
Excel spreadsheets free.
But yeah,
if you know how to work an Excel spreadsheet.
If you're a student,
Connor, Excel spreadsheet, man.
But like our CRM, we can track all of our customers' info and all that stuff. But then we can also use it as a form of constant contact. Like at the push of a button, we could email every single customer we've ever put into our CRM and email them a coupon. We could email them a review link. Hey, would you like to send us a review? We could email them an announcement of the company or whatever the case may be. So that's kind of cool too, is to be able to communicate with them that way. But once they're on the schedule, like you can set all these parameters, but like it can give them a schedule confirmation. It can like shoot them a text letting them know that you are indeed on the schedule. And it can also set like a reminder, like 48 hours before their appointment. It can shoot them another text, and you can change all those. You can make it a week out. You can make it a day out. You can do multiples, a week out and a day out. They're pretty versatile. So,
and you can do that all by calling your customers, but it just makes it easier.
Yeah.
If you can set that up.
You can get away with it for the first, whenever you're only a month out, you can get away with it. You can store it in your head.
Yeah.
When you get 2 months out,
and I'd say
it has to be tough.
Has a lot to do with customer base too.
Yeah.
So if you have 1,000 customers, Jesse's not going to call or email them all one at a time.
Right.
That's a lot of work, right? You're sitting in the office for 2 days emailing people.
Right.
Like if you have a CRM, that much. Maybe their customer base is only 50. I don't mean your guys, but in generalities, if your customer base is only 50 or 100, it's a lot easier for you to just pull out your notebook and send emails to everybody.
Yeah.
Say, hey, we're offering this for this month.
Well, and the nice part, too, with the CRM is, like, as you're talking with the customer, and you're putting their appointment together. You know, we're going to see you in 2.5 weeks. You're getting their name, you're getting all their parameters, what car, what treatments, what coatings, whatever the case may be. You're plugging that into the system, and you never have to make contact with that customer beyond that point if you don't want to. Like if you want a more personal touch, you can always, you know, call them the day before or whatever. But you can let the system do all the reminding and everything, and then that also turns into your schedule. So like you look at it, and at a glance, you can say, okay, yeah, Thursday we're doing a Corvette, you know, Friday we're doing a Bel Air, or whatever the case may be, and that just turns into your schedule. When, like, one of the things that we do for our business, when we do get crazy heavy, so you guys are talking about being months out, we don't like to be more than like a day or two out.
It's a different service.
It's a whole different service, right? Like ours is kind of more emergency based. But when we do get far out, you know, 4, 5, 6 days out on the schedule, we implement to where we call the customer the day before their appointment, just to remind them, make sure that they're going to be there, remind them of the time and everything else. We could let the CRM do that for us, but we like that more personal touch. And so we just make a quick phone call to them. But you guys could, I mean, every business is a little bit different. It just kind of depends. So
getting back to their business.
Yeah.
So when you guys started out, I mean, how did you guys start out? Was it just one of you detailing cars working for somebody? I mean, how did you guys get hooked up? And then what did you do? Did you, after so many cars, you were like, hey, let's start a company. Let's make our own LLC. I'm going to ask, did you get a partnership agreement from an attorney? Did you get one online? I mean, what was the story there? I mean, either one of you.
So the story, it starts out with him and I went to college together. We met through drag racing, and we like to go fast. So he was working at Bob Allen Ford. I was working in a pharmacy. Don't even get me started on that.
We're not going to dive into too much of your past. I mean, we don't want girlfriends like emailing the show later. Like, he gave me, you don't, we're not trying to go that deep.
We were young when we started. I was 17, 18.
First off, he's young now.
right.
Like all us old farts are
Well,
like.
let's flesh that out. How old are you guys?
24.
27.
24 and 27. So
Yeah, so they're old.
That's really important for our
By
listeners
old, I
because
mean
their
not old.
age is not a number, right? You don't have to be
No.
30 years old to start your own company.
No, that's the
guys
whole
have done
point of
it-
the show.
Right. You guys have done it for 5 years. You're 24 now. You were 19 when you started.
I
So-
think I was 18. It's
Okay.
been 6.
Yeah.
So it's really simple. We wanted to go fast, but we also had bills,
Right?
and we were not making enough money because we had to be at college, so obviously we couldn't be at work, to do the things that we wanted to do. And I had moved out, and obviously, we all inherit financial responsibility when that happens. And it basically came down to either I was going to have to sell the Mustang or give up college and figure something out, and that Mustang was not getting sold. Wasn't getting sold. Wasn't going to happen.
First off, 90% of the people would say that's an irrational decision.
Non-negotiable
Yes.
right there.
There's been irrational decisions that have led us to where we're at.
Right.
Hey, we all have made those decisions that have brought us to here.
Right.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Every decision has led you to where you are today.
See, they started out of refusing to sell a Mustang. I sold a Mustang to start ours. Kind of funny how that works.
We're not talking about you here,
I know.
Mitch. We're talking about them.
I'm just saying, you can't make a wrong choice.
Okay, so
You
he's
can't.
so he drops out of college, basically.
We
Right.
both do.
Yeah, both do.
Both do. Okay,
And
continue.
we've always kept our cars insanely clean. And, one night we just went, why don't we start making some money on the side doing this? And so we started out of my garage. And people would come in, we'd clean interiors. We'd do like a one-step polish and wax on a car. We started out doing those things, and obviously it just grew. From there, we were able to kind of lean on Taos Performance, some friends of ours, and we moved into their shop, worked out of the back of their shop. That was an asset. And then it was a couple of years ago we moved into our own shop, and we're full throttle now.
So what happened? I mean, where was the step of we're going to take this from side hustle to actual business? We're going to go online. We're going to make our LLC. We're going to do the deal.
When we started doing it, we just realized that we enjoy it. Like, that's why we're good at what we do, is because we are having fun at work.
Yeah.
The majority of the time, we're having fun.
And then eventually you were like, hey, we're making some money and having fun.
Correct.
So we're going to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, is that what happened, Connor?
That's exactly what happened. People always say, find something you enjoy doing, and it's not work.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
I
what
mean,
we
what
did.
was the financial threshold of, hey, I mean, you said it was a side hustle. When was the point where you were like, okay, we can do this and quit our regular jobs and do this full time? That's where I'm going with this.
This is kind of funny.
Where was
He's
that at?
got a grin.
Yeah, they both have grins. For those of us, for everyone on Spotify, Connor hasn't said a lot, but like you could see his face. He's like he wants to tell like this story of. You can't tell if he's like Jesse's. He drives me. I want to choke him. I wanted to run this. We did that. You can't tell where he
knows what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I do.
Is that what it is? You guys
Yeah.
been
Oh,
friends
yeah.
so long that
Oh,
that's
yeah.
what it is?
So
I like it.
he had kind of been full-time a little before me. I followed
Okay.
right after, but we started making enough money to pay bills, basically, and started being able to spend a little bit of money on our cars without, there's times that him and I have went broke
Yeah, we
to
all
make
been
cars
there,
fast.
for sure.
To make cars fast.
First
Yep.
off, where's the pics, Mitch? We
Yeah.
just start showing up the pics on YouTube.
We started making enough money, and I worked at Walgreens, and I had gotten, I went in there, I had started making more money doing this than what I was doing at my 9 to 5 in the pharmacy. And so at that point, obviously,
You gotta
priorities
make a
kind of
decision,
changed.
right?
And they weren't happy about some things. I was cutting some corners, which I'm happy to admit,
At a pharmacy.
in the pharmacy.
That's
yep.
probably not good. I mean, if you're cutting corners somewhere,
Yeah.
what do you mean, like one pill for
They don't-
Granny
they don't
wasn't
need
going in the bottle?
30 pills.
Really, what
She's
was
getting
going on,
28.
the pharmacist would take a 30-minute cig break, go out and smoke. Well, every prescription's got to be verified by the pharmacist before it goes out.
So you were going, bloop.
Send it out.
Yeah.
I mean, they were right, but they wanted me to get down on my knees, beg for my job, and it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
So at that point, they said, "Yeah, we're going to put you on indefinite suspension. We'll call it." I said, "Don't even worry about it."
Indefinite suspension means middle finger,
And
and
then-
I'm walking out.
And then I hopped in his C7 Corvette that, I mean, it was a badass car at the time, and rolled out of there with the tires lit up. And I can remember driving home, and I'm like,
like nervous but excited at the same time,
dude,
right?
like it's do or die. Your back's up against the wall. And when you put yourself in that situation, you really find out what you're made of.
That's right.
And you don't have a choice. What are you going to do? Just live on the street? No.
No,
Like,
you're going to make it happen.
Exactly.
So Connor, what were you doing? So he's working at Walgreens. What were you doing at the time? Obviously, it's a side hustle, and that's his moment of, hey, we're doing this. What were you doing at that time?
At that time, I was only doing what he was doing for the last couple months. So whenever he quit Walgreens, I had quit my job about 2 months earlier than him.
So
Right.
what was that job before you quit?
Working in the service department at a Ford dealership.
At the Bob Allen Ford?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it was terrible. The hours were terrible. The pay was terrible. And I was finally just like,
Fed
I'm
up.
done. I'm
Yeah.
done. But to get to the next step, having to quit our job is what we need to do.
Yeah.
Because we never would have the same level of commitment to it if we didn't quit our jobs.
Yeah.
Right.
It always would have been a side hustle. Just would have been something
Yeah.
we never fully committed to. But finally, once we were like, all right, let's do this
We're
and
gonna
put
do
our
it.
full hearts and time into it, that's when the upswing happened.
I got you. So Connor quits his 2 months before you did. Let me ask you, Jesse, when he quit his job, do you think there was something like down inside of you and you're like, you know what, maybe I want to quit? Like deep down inside, I want to be doing that? Or what was your mindset at the time?
I knew that quicker than that.
Okay. So you knew way before that, but
Yeah.
you were just, would you think, and this is like, I'm not trying to bust your balls, but do you think you were afraid to go out on your own?
I was terrified. I mean, we're 6 years in, well established. A lot of people know our name, and still our schedule might be 2 months out. But after that,
You're terrified.
we still got to go hunt to put food on the table. Like, it's not guaranteed. It's not. There's people who are made to do this, and then there's some people that just aren't. And, you do have to go out and hunt for work. That's how it is.
Yeah.
Your income is not guaranteed.
Yeah, and I bring that up because we talk about it on the show all the time. Even like if you're in our industry, Mitch or I in the service industry, even if you're a go-getter and you are killing it at your job, you're always afraid. You know, you're afraid, hey, I got to be better than this guy. I got to be better than this guy. I want to be doing this. I want to be doing that. And I think that's what part of that is what drives successful people or people that are really trying to get to the next level, you know, is that constant nagging of I can be better. I know I'm better, but at the same time trying to run from that fear of am I going to be good enough?
Yeah,
you know, all at the same time. It sounds like a jumbled bunch of bullshit, but, you know, we've talked about on the show, there's a real fine edge there, you know, of where we're at and where we want to go and what we're afraid of. You know, I mean, everyone is.
Yeah.
I mean, I know guys that are worth $40 million and all their properties are paid for and they're on the right track. You know, their kids are going to be multimillionaires, but they're always still driving.
Right.
It's almost like they're afraid of something. They're afraid to be too successful. They're afraid to not be successful enough. They're afraid of what steps to do next, and it just keeps driving them to be greater all the time. I haven't quite put my thumb on what it is, but that's why I ask guys that question.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, what is it? What is it that drives everybody?
I think a big differentiating factor there is the difference between being afraid and having fear. So being afraid to me would be like it's holding you back, right? Having fear is the ability to recognize a hurdle and then using the emotion of fear to put a plan together to overcome that hurdle.
Yeah, to push you forward.
Yeah. I mean, I look at times where I've been afraid and it's like holding me back. It's keeping me from doing something. I look at other times where I've used fear as a motivator and it's a little bit higher level oversight to say, okay, that could trip me up, but I think if we do it this way, we'll make it around that, or, you know, whatever the case may be.
And we talk about it, you know, the ability to step outside of yourself and look at the situation and realize, okay, I am afraid, but I'm not afraid that I'm going to fail. I'm afraid of what will happen if I don't move forward.
Right.
You know, and I'm not going to say people are born with it or not born with it or whatever, especially as you get older. It's easier for you to recognize, hey, okay,
right,
I see what's going on here. For these guys, it's different. You know, they were younger and they were running towards something.
Well, and it can be fearful to walk away from a pharmacy job is not a bad job, right? So it can be a little fearful to walk away from that.
Yeah.
I'm sure the pay's not horrible.
It was guaranteed income that was going to at least pay the bills every month.
Right.
It wasn't going to be what I wanted, but I could live off of that.
Right.
Yeah, but
still, lots of people they have that. You know, I'm getting that paycheck every month for every week for $800. I mean, that's decent. I mean, that's good money.
Right.
You know, to be like, okay, I'm throwing that $800 away to get 15 or to get 16 or 12 or whatever. I mean, there's fear there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And there's fluctuations. If you start out, you can't even put a budget together because you don't know what you're going to make. At least for us, we didn't know. We'd have weeks where we made $500, and then we'd have weeks where we'd make $2,000.
Yeah.
You know, you never really know.
Dude, I know exactly what you're talking about because when doing HVAC, like there were months where it would, like say August rolled around and there were 2 weeks where it was nice.
Right.
And there weren't calls, you know, and you're just like,
well,
oh shit. And then the third week would roll around and you're like, oh, I'm busier than hell, you know? But and that teaches you discipline too, is, you know, the weeks that or months that you're really killing it, you know, you're just trying to set that money aside. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, I don't know what you guys do. We'll get into it, I'm sure, a little bit, but you know, that's what I did. If I was killing it, no setting money aside.
We put it in crypto and then we lose it.
But
never put
you don't lose it until you sell your crypto.
First off,
that's right.
Crypto is we're not gonna talk about it. Right. But I mean, that's what I would do. I mean, and I was like, what am I gonna do? You know, this week I made $300, and the next week just kept on plugging. Oh, okay, I made $6,000 this week.
Yep.
Right.
That paid up for last week. It teaches you real quick of I have to set that money aside. That's not my money. That's the business's money. I might need that money the next week or next month. You know,
it's a totally different mindset from a self-employed individual to an employed individual. It's totally different. You know, your income is going to fluctuate. Your income is not guaranteed. You got to rewire your brain.
Right.
And we talk about that all the time on the show, is you literally have to completely disconnect yourself from who you used to be and try to rearrange for who you are now.
Correct.
You know, especially in a partnership. It's not just you. You know, it's not Jesse. It's not Connor. It's the partnership. And so you have to make double the money of someone like me. I'm by myself, you know.
We got 2 mouths to feed.
You have 2 mouths to feed. And when you get older, it's going to be 2 families to feed. So you
One.
always... Easy, Jesse. You'll be there before you know
You'll
it,
be
man.
there.
You'll be there before you know it. Connor's... Are you married?
Yeah.
Okay.
Connor just got married within the last 2 weeks.
So you guys got 3 mouths to feed, but he's got... You know what? I'm not going to say any of that stuff. But you know, and as you get older, you know, you'll see that. Hey, that pressure is just like on you all the time. You got to be thinking, hey, we got to set this money aside for this. We got to be getting regular paychecks all the time. How are we going to do that?
Do you guys do
constant questions?
Do you guys do a payroll, or how do you guys pay yourselves?
Real simple. We get paid, we split it down the middle, and send it to each other.
Okay.
Real simple.
Right.
It's not by the
Everything.
book, but all our taxes come out good.
That is not by the book.
All our taxes come out good, and we keep it simple, and it works for us. So I don't feel like there's any right or wrong way.
Nope.
As long as taxes come out good and, you know, it's efficient for us, that's what we do.
So the business takes in revenue, the business pays its costs, and then everything that's left over, you guys just split 50-50 down the middle.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So
And that'd be the same. Like, so I would say, quote unquote, for on Spotify, my fingers are up. Like, the correct way to do it would be you have a business accountant. The business accountant says, hey, this is the revenue you guys had. He gives one of you what would be called a K1, gives the other one of you a K1, and then you go to your personal, and then, you know, they file your taxes
We
based
get
on
our
your
K1s.
income. Oh, okay, so you
Yeah.
guys do have a business accountant that does it.
Yeah.
We have a CPA that handles all our taxes, yes.
Okay, so you don't split it straight down the middle. You do, but the business accountant figures it all out and then gives you your K1s. Okay.
We are good at what we do.
So you're doing it right then. You're doing it right.
yeah.
The way I look
He
at
shrugs
it,
his shoulders. No, you are. You're doing it by the book.
But this should go to show we're not business gurus necessarily. We just have a work ethic. If you just bring a work ethic to the table, you will outperform 90%.
And that's the whole point of this show, and that's why you guys are guests, because Mitchell was like, hey, dude, these guys know what
these
it
guys kill
takes
it.
to get it done. Okay? And that's the whole point of this show, is you do not have to be business savvy. You
Nope.
do not have to be an entrepreneur. You do not have to be worth, $5 million to own your own business. Regular people can do it and kill it at their job.
They can.
It's all about work ethic and just getting a good CPA. I mean, literally, episodes 1 through 9 are set up your business, do it this way, and if you are a go-getter, you can kill it
Right.
at
Exactly.
your job. You do not have to work for someone else.
Right.
And I think that the 2 most important things is going to be work ethic and then people skills. People skills is
Yeah.
huge. No matter what you do, you're going to have to normally deal with people.
Right.
If you bring those 2 things to the table, then, you'll at least make a living.
Now,
At the minimum.
dive in a little bit on people skills. What do you mean?
As far as just taking care of people, we have, especially if you start up a new business, this is one thing that we've always done and I think has propelled us, is if someone has a problem, regardless of what it is, I can just think of an example. A customer left the shop, got home, he found something on his truck that he didn't like. He lives in St. Joe. Well, I'm driving straight to St. Joe right then and there to go take care of it, and I'm not asking for money.
Right.
Or, for example, a couple weeks ago, we did a ZL1 Camaro. There was a miscommunication, and I performed a 9-year coating package on the car. He wanted a 5-year coating package. So when he showed up to pay, and I had his invoice written for a 9-year package, he said, I only wanted the 5-year. You take the hit, you eat it, and you move on. Instead of, don't fight over it.
Right.
No debate.
Right.
Because a bad review is not worth, that's a $600 difference.
Oh, yeah.
A considerable amount of money. You just eat it and move on.
Right.
Eat it and move on, because it's not worth the bad review or the bad word of mouth that's going to go around.
Right.
As a partnership, Connor, are you in the same mindset as that? Like, hey, this is what we do. This is what we've agreed to do.
Yes.
We're going to take care of the customers.
Oh, absolutely. We always take care of the customers first and foremost.
Yeah.
It's hard when you have a partnership, you guys have to be on the same page all the time, no matter what. Money, work ethic, how we take care of our customers. People forget that. I mean, I know a lot of guys that are like, they'll start a side hustle with their buddy, and they're like, hey, we're going to cut yards, or we're going to trim trees, or we're going to do this. And then bill time comes, money time comes, and then they're in an argument, like right off the bat. You have to have that stuff set in stone before you do it. And if you're not real good friends like you guys were, but you, like, say it's an acquaintance and you start it, get that shit in writing.
Yeah.
Hey, this is how we're going to take care of our customers. This is what we're going to do, and this is how it's going to be done. Then if anything ever happens, you always have something to go to and say, hey, this is what we do. And I'm not saying that about you guys. I'm just saying, for people that are starting their company, if you're thinking about being in partnership with, your buddy or whatever, get that shit in writing if you're nervous.
Well, and it helps out too for each partner to have, and we've talked about this before, each partner to have different strong suits, right? So like with you guys, one of you is a little bit stronger on the business side of things, and one of you is a little bit stronger on the customer side of things. And that's a key element towards your success. If both of you were strong on the business and both of you were weak on the customer side of things, you would probably end up arguing about business stuff because you both think you're right. And then you would probably end up arguing about customer stuff because neither one of you know what's right, right? So having anytime you have partners together, it's always incredibly beneficial to have you each strong in your own areas and then allow the strong person the control in that area. And the partnership will usually work out pretty well from that point. And
you have to be humble too.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know these guys at all. Mitch knows these guys, but when I asked them questions before the show, and Jesse's like, "Yeah, I do this, I do this, I do this. Connor does this. He doesn't talk a lot." And they come in and sit down. He's right. Connor doesn't talk a lot. It's okay,
right?
Because they both have their strong suits, and it suits both of them in the business situation.
Yeah.
And they know, hey, you can tell when they talk to each other, hey, this guy's good at this guy's good at that.
Right.
I mean, that's a very rare thing to have happen.
Right.
Like Mitch and I have known each other since we were 13. I mean, we're both 40 now. We could not be in business together.
Right.
Because our personality, it wouldn't work.
A lot of people can't.
No, they can't. You guys have something that works. So don't, I'm not dad talking to you, don't piss it away. It works for you guys. A lot of guys can't make that happen.
Right.
Agreed.
It's good.
Well,
I like it.
One of the things that you guys you hit on it a second ago, your workflow. So you bring in a car, you're both putting in the elbow grease to paint correct the car or do whatever. Explain to us how that happens, how you split it down the middle.
The physical part of the labor?
Yeah.
So the driver's side is mine. Passenger side is Connor's. We obviously perform our process. My side is his side. His side is his side. And then before we apply any coating, we go over each other's sides. There's two sets of eyes on the car on every square inch.
So you flip the car around and you're double checking each other's work just to make sure that you're not missing anything because two eyes are better than one.
Correct. I miss stuff sometimes. He misses stuff sometimes. We're not robots.
Yeah.
We're good at what we do, but we're not robots.
So the ability to be humble and be like, for one, be able to call the other one out and say, oh, no, we got to get this a little bit better. And then to be able to be called out and be like, oh, we missed this over here. We got to get that. That's huge.
Yeah. Humility is a huge thing when you have a partnership.
Yeah.
I would think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? You got to be, hey, dude, I fucked up. My bad. I got it. But not even, I'm sure you guys don't do this too. You probably don't say, hey man, you fucked this up over here. You probably just say, hey man, check this out. Maybe we do something about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, is that
if
the
I
process?
if I see something that needs done, I just do it. I mean, like if
don't
he's
don't
not,
even say nothing. Like, hey, I'm just going to hit this and we're going to roll on.
I'll say something just so next time we get that exact model of car in the shop, he knows.
We know, yeah.
Or I know I missed a spot here. But yeah, I always let him know, or he lets me know. But
you say, Jesse, hey, fucker, you missed the chrome over here. What are you doing?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Whatever it is.
Yeah, just like
or vice versa.
I don't see that coming from Connor. No. Like, he's so laid back. He's like, that's not really, but okay. Right. But then on the business side, then He's doing the books. You just let him do his thing.
Yeah.
Jesse, I mean, I forget we're not on YouTube all the time.
Right.
So Connor is doing the books. Jesse doesn't come in there to say, hey, dude, the books are this. He just lets you have it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And full control.
And then on the customer side, Connor doesn't come to you and say, hey, dude, this is how you talk to customers. What the fuck are you doing? No. So that part's just split up and you guys roll with it.
We handle it on our own. And one thing I wanted to go back to is on the people skills. For example, say if someone came to me and they said, you quoted me, whatever I quoted them, it's too much, I can't do it. A person who doesn't have people skills is going to go, okay, that's fine. And they're going to lose the job.
Right.
As opposed to where I'm going to go, well, you got to understand, this cost me this cost me this, then I have to pay tax on it, and I break down the numbers, and then, any reasonable person is going to go, well, they can't do it for $100.
Right.
And, I've gotten jobs out of just, people are normally reasonable.
Yeah.
And they will understand, if you do a job for X amount, you've got materials, you've got your time, you've got to pay tax on that. People don't expect you to work for free.
Right.
At least any good customer won't.
Right.
So having people skills, that's just communicating with them, and it's really just being transparent.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people, at least in our business, we're kind of lucky. A lot of our customers are pretty great.
Right. Right. Well, you're in a market where you can have some really great customers, right? These are people that they're choosing to spend extra money to make their car look better, right? It's not like somebody bought, a 5-year-old car to buy here, pay here lot, and they're having to make a mandatory repair to the alternator, right?
Correct.
They're between a rock and a hard place. You're working with higher end people with discretionary income, so the place cards are there to have some really good customers. You can find D-bags in about every level.
They're
right?
out there.
Yeah.
They're at every corner.
How do you guys get work? What do you do to where do you get most of your work from?
I like that question because when we first started out, Facebook advertising was fairly new. Mm-hmm. We brought in probably 80% of our workflow from Facebook.
Yep.
And over the years, yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just 2 kids in a garage.
Hey, man. Hey.
And over the years,
I love it.
Now
I'm
I'll
inspired.
say,
I'm literally, I'm like,
so they're
taken aback.
Their ads did not look like 2 kids in a garage.
No.
You were using really good shots of really cool cars and really good work. It wasn't like you didn't see mom in her slippers in the background. You didn't see dad's mower in the background, right? Like you guys made it look really good.
Yeah, the best we could. We'd take cars. We do our work in the garage when we first started. We take them down the street in the cul-de-sac where there's not even houses around to take pictures of them.
Right.
Over the years, it has transitioned from coming from Facebook to word of mouth. And word of mouth has surpassed the income from Facebook.
Word of mouth is just, we talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
That's your number one seller.
Yeah.
Until you get big enough where you have like 10 employees, word of mouth will take you there.
Yeah,
every
it
time.
will. As long as you take care of your people. I have, I don't even really believe that self-made is a thing because we do have customers that we would not be where we are at if we did not have them.
Yeah, self-made's not.
They helped us. And that's because I say if you bring a work ethic to the table, work ethic anymore, let's be honest, is rare.
Yeah.
It is.
Shit, we talk about it all the time. When we rag on your generation all the time.
I rag on our generation.
We've just beat you guys to death.
Yeah.
You know it. Guys you grew up with are just sitting in mom's basement, playing video games, not doing anything. And you guys are going and getting it, just doing it. Started out just detailing.
Yep.
That's all you had to have was say that want to go get attitude. And then put the work in, and look where you've become.
And people,
look what you've become.
People love to see work ethic, especially an older clientele.
Yeah.
They love to see that.
Talk about it all the time.
When people see us at work at 2 or 3 in the morning, that's big. I'm not there just to show that off. Like I'm genuinely there working.
You're trying to get the job done.
Like we will be tonight. We'll be there at 3 in the morning working. And people love to see that, and they will want to see you succeed because they want to see that work ethic rewarded.
Yeah.
So they're telling their friends, their family.
Yeah.
People thoroughly enjoy watching somebody become successful when they've earned it. When the person on the outside looking in knows how much you've worked and how much you've applied yourself and how much you've committed yourself towards that success, people will always reward that. And they'll reward that in a couple of ways. Some ways they'll talk to you about it and they'll say, hey, congrats. Other ways, they're going to use you for your services because they want to help contribute to your success.
And we talk about, like when you have employees and you have one employee that's just a freaking go-getter, like you're behind them 110%.
Yep.
You're cheering them on. You're saying, hey, you're giving them every tool you can. You guys are going to do the same thing. When you get big enough where you're like, hey, we got to hire somebody. And you hire some 19-year-old kid and he's a go-getter. You're giving them everything. You're just, hey, you see all of that in what's going on. You're like, we're going to go get it.
Right.
I don't know what just happened to the sound.
No, I think Austin just turned us up a little bit.
I don't know what happened. But you're going to repeat what your customers are doing to you, and you're going to do that for your employees when you get there. You're going to say, hey, this kid's a go-getter, man.
Right.
I'm going to pour everything I have into him, and he's going to be great. Just like your customers are like, hey, I want this guy to be great. I'm going to give him all my jobs. I'm going to give it, they're going to get it 24/7. Just like you said, you're up till 3 a.m., working. They love to see it.
They do.
And you're going to love to see it in your employees later.
It gets rewarded. And I honestly, as far as the employee thing goes, it's gone so well with just Connor and I. It is an asset, and there's something to be said, at least in our industry, where a customer comes in, it's not the guys in the back that's working on their car, and I'm just talking to them. No, we're owner-operated. You know, it's him and I working on the cars. And I definitely think that I do have a leg up on competition. We do, because it's only us working on the cars. I've had customers come in and say they had guys in the back. I was kind of worried about this or that. And there's different ways to look at it, but I think that is an asset for us.
There. So
it can, but a lot of it, if you get so busy where you have to have somebody, you can always train them to do front of the house stuff too.
That's true.
Like he's right next to you, or she right next to you all the time. All those customers get to know them and then take over a little bit at a time. And I'm not going to say that every business has to have employees to grow. Yeah. Dude, I've been a one-man show for 13 years now.
Wow.
I mean, it's just, that's just how it is. I didn't want employees. Yeah. But some companies, start out like me, and eventually they're, oh, shit, I've got to do something. There's just so much stuff going on. I can't do it all.
There is times where we'll get like 2 months out, and I'll lose a job here or there, because people don't want to wait. So that is unfortunate. That's where an employee could come in handy. And we have a part-time guy that helps us out with, the detail work. But as far as the paint correction work goes, the ceramic coating work goes, it's very, very tedious work. And it's not for everyone.
Right.
It is not for everyone.
When you're on some high-end cars, too. I mean, you're on some cars that are well over $100,000.
There's liability.
Yeah. Well, and you could always have, I'm not telling you what to do by any means, but you could always have someone that just does the detailing and then you handle the specialty stuff. Yeah. Or if you blew up where you were having, quote-unquote, regular cars in there, they could be doing the detailing on that, and then you guys just handle the high-end stuff. I mean, there's 100 different
ways to go about it. We don't have it all figured out yet.
No one does, man. None of us do.
Well, and that's one of the
none of us do.
Like amazing things about self-employment is you can go any direction you want with it.
Right.
You could stay at this level right here, stay happy, stay paying bills, and enjoy it a whole lot better than working at a Ford dealer and working at a pharmacy. Or you could turn a few knobs and pull a few levers and start growing this thing and make it bigger. The choice is yours, right? But you don't have any of those choices when you're working for somebody else. So that's one of the biggest perks about being self-employed is you get to choose all of that stuff. So one of the things I want to have you guys talk about is what were some of the biggest struggles you had when you first started? So like after you walked away from your jobs, you're on your own, you're doing this thing. What were some of the biggest struggles you had?
Keeping work flowing through the door was definitely one of them.
Workflow. Yep.
There was times where we had bills due on the 30th, and it's the 26th, and we don't have enough money to pay them.
Right.
That is when you find out what you're made of.
Yeah.
You're in the garage working at 3 o'clock in the morning for half price to make ends meet.
Yep.
You're doing everything you can to make ends meet. That was a struggle. I can remember us being detailers. We, at that time, saw some nasty cars.
Yeah.
I told Connor about this last night. I will never forget. We did a basic interior cleanup on a car, and it was exactly that, a basic cleanup on a car that it looked like a herd of cows run through this thing. It looked way better. It was worth way more than the $150 she paid us, but she was not happy.
Right.
So at that point, the way we operate, we take care of our people. We will not let anyone leave unhappy.
Right.
I remember scraping gunk out of the seat tracks with a flathead screwdriver. We spent an extra 9 hours on the inside of that car for no extra pay, just to make her happy. Was it worth it? Yes. Why? Because I didn't end up with a bad review. She's happy. She decides to spread the word.
Right.
I might not have made money that day, but she probably sent someone to me after that we made money on.
Or maybe she never sent anybody to you, but your actions kept her from preventing 5 or 6 people from coming to you.
Exactly. And you guys have talked about that before. One person,
can ruin your day, man.
It can.
Not day. They can ruin 3 months.
Yeah.
Yes.
We just got a 2-star review today, like 3 hours before the show started. We just got a 2-star review.
Hashtag Medley Plumbing.
And that is one thing to keep in mind is for our listeners that haven't made the switch yet, your MO is going to be different when you're first getting your legs underneath you than it is once you've kind of hit your stride. I was the same way with ours. I had some specific goals to hit, and so I was doing things that were unconventional and not really part of our MO in those first few months, simply because you have goals to meet, you've got bills to pay, and everything else. So, yeah, discounts might be a little bit more common when you're first starting out because you can't let a job go, right? You have to get every job available.
Correct.
And if
You got to take them all, man.
Yeah, and if that means you got to give them a little bit of a discount or whatever the case may be, that's what you have to do in those first few months. And then once you start getting your legs under you and you realize, okay, I can charge a little bit more over here, and that keeps me from even having the discount over here, that helps out a ton.
We talk about all the time, stuff like this where you're trying to make ends meet. I've known guys that have started companies and then at the end of the month been writing checks out of their own personal account.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For rent, for supplies, for materials,
They
whatever.
obviously didn't listen to our podcast.
Of course not. Okay. But, you don't know until you're on your own.
Right.
And when you're on your own and you're on the verge of writing checks, you're panicked.
Right.
You will literally you'll work for 9 freaking hours, just like Jesse said, for $150, or I don't know what a detailing is, $300. You're not paying you're literally paying yourself zero so that you can pay your costs.
Right.
Yep. You know what I mean? So that you're not having to write personal checks. You're not having to loan your company money to keep the doors open.
Right.
And and you don't at the time that's happening, you don't think about it that way. You just think, hey, I got to have this money. I'm going to just do it. And that's what you guys were saying earlier about the mindset of just your mindset's different.
Yeah.
You just got to do what you got to do and just keep on rolling.
It's totally
And the
different.
next one's going to be different.
It's a can't fail mindset, and not of one that like you can't make a mistake, like it's impossible to fail. It's that you won't allow yourself.
You're
to
working
fail.
against that clock, not for that clock.
And there's people who can succumb to that, and then there's people who, it makes me feel alive. I like the pressure.
Yeah. You turn that. I listen to pop punk when I'm really down. I'll turn that pop punk on and just get after it.
You don't even want to hear what I listen to.
Listen, just be in the shop welding, and it's 2 a.m. and you're like, hey, I gotta have this ready. I gotta have this done. I got
Right.
And you just your desire is to get the job done, not to make the money.
Right.
Yeah.
At that point,
Right.
hey, I got to get it done.
I
just got to do it, man.
Well,
This
at that
is where
point,
it's
the
at.
price is set, the scope is set, and everything else. Now it's just like you said, you're working against the clock. Now it's just a matter of just getting it done.
I got to get it done. Got to get
Execution.
it done all the time.
We always tell people that are starting out, whatever you choose to do, just make sure it's something that it's going to be a lot better. You're going to be a lot better off if you enjoy what you do.
Right.
Because at first, I put it this way. It's like someone takes a plate with dog shit on it, and you just have to eat it. That happens multiple times when you start out. Period.
Such a shitty example. That made me gag.
That day that we worked 9 hours in the garage, that was eating dog shit.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
There's going to be times like that. But you prosper and time goes on and,
Come out smelling like a rose.
Back then, I would have to haggle with people about prices.
With dog shit.
Yeah.
And now, if they don't like our prices, I'll explain why they are what they are. And if they don't like it, then I've still got work for the next month.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're going to be fine.
Right.
But back then, we hustled hard back then.
Yeah.
Just to get whatever we could get.
Right.
We ran a lot of sales back in the day.
Right. Yeah. We did.
A lot of sales.
The quiet giant.
Yep.
What are some successes you guys experienced early on that were a surprise to you?
I'll let you talk about Mike. Mike was huge for us.
Oh, yep.
Running into good customers that,
Yeah.
like we talked about, people that want to see you succeed.
Right.
There are good people out there. There are people out there that want to see you do well. Not everyone is out to take advantage of you.
Right.
We would not be where we're at if we didn't have a certain amount of. There's a select few customers that have really propelled us.
Right. And propelled you how? Like gave you a bunch of work or referred you to a lot of customers?
And how did you get them? I mean,
Just
knowing them or what?
I am a social creature, so I helped a little bit on that front. Connor gets along with that. Our clientele is normally middle to older age. Connor gets along well with them. So.
Ouch. I feel like that was a personal dig. Just self-admit.
Connor hangs out at the old folks' home.
Making friends. And
Connor.
they would bring us work, refer us, spam us all over social media. And they would even give us some critique, which is good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You got to have it.
You got to have it.
Yeah, a lot of our earlier customers like that end up being good friends of ours like now.
Right.
Just from our first jobs with them.
Yeah.
That's a success for sure. Starting up, we've made a lot of lifelong friends in our business.
Well, you'll know you're doing it right if you stand a better chance of turning a customer into a friend than a friend into a customer.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. So if you can take all those customers and you're giving them such great service and such great value, and then they become your friends, you're on to something, and don't change it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah, I mean, if you're rolling, keep on going.
yeah.
People like to see the work ethic rewarded, and I think the work ethic it's exactly what got us to here.
Right.
There's people who maybe didn't even need our services. I can think of times that people they really didn't need our services.
But they were giving you work.
But they would buy our services because they wanted to see us succeed.
Right.
It's all a snowball.
Yeah.
What's we haven't said anything. What do you guys have a website?
Yeah.
What is it?
AristocratDetailing.com.
AristocratDetailing.com.
We are more active on our Facebook, but our website is fairly updated.
So if you
So
if
what
you
are you
went
on Facebook?
Aristocrat Raymore, would it just come up?
It's Aristocrat Detailing, LLC.
Oh, okay.
Pretty big on Facebook.
On Facebook.
I'm proud of our Facebook.
I searched Aristocrat Raymore on Facebook when Mitch told me, and it came right up.
Right.
Good.
So
good.
So for anybody who's considering starting a car detailing business, find them on social, follow them, and then you can mimic some of the way that they take photos, and you can look at how they do their posts, and you can see what has worked for them, and it'll work for you as well. So, but I doubt you're going to be able to out hustle these two. These guys work hard and long.
They're getting it right now.
Right.
They're getting it. If they weren't, they wouldn't be on the show.
Right.
We don't have lazy people on the show.
No. We there's plenty of other good coating installers and detailers in Kansas City. There is guys I know who does good work, who does mediocre work, and I love the competition. It's driven us to where we're at as well.
Competition drives sales, especially if you're just above the rest.
And we respect
You need it.
we respect our competitors that do good work, and it's but don't think I don't have a plan to eat you, because business is eat or be eaten. Period.
Yeah.
It can be. It really can be.
Right. Thankfully, in our market, it's not that way. There's room for everybody. So
There's room for everybody because there aren't that many.
right.
I mean, detailing. I
Same.
think
I would assume similar with detailing.
There's plenty of cars to go around for everyone,
Right.
but there's definitely a lot of dick measuring that goes on
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
me being me, I will be involved in that.
Just walk up to the next guy and be like, hey, buddy, measure you for 20.
We might-
See what they say. They panic. Their face gets bright red.
We might be two guys, but we will not be outworked, period.
Right.
I love it.
That's good stuff. Well, guys,
End it on that, Mitch. That's great.
Yeah,
we will not be outworked.
if anybody's looking to start a mobile detailing thing, follow these guys on social. They're doing some great stuff. So if anybody has any questions for these guys that you want to ask, maybe how they do a certain thing or whatever, send us an email to askmitch@mitchsmedley.com, and we will get that emailed message over to them. So until next time, guys, we will catch up with you later.
All right. Love you guys.
See ya.
See ya.